So I'm here in Valletta, Malta, at the University of Malta, with the distinguished archaeologist Reuben Grima. Is that how you pronounce your last name,
Well done.
Reuben? And we've been discussing ancient Malta, Neolithic Malta, not the first people who came to Malta, which is now thought to happen some 8,500 years ago, but the people who probably came 5 to 6,000 years ago and started building these megalithic structures all over the island. And it's been posited by some, not necessarily by Reuben and his colleagues, but by some, that these structures do have celestial alignments of some sort and perhaps were used as even teaching tools to help navigators learn the sky. That's a kind of an out there idea. Ruben, what are your thoughts?
Well, we've learned so many times that we have underestimated the achievements of those people that we certainly have to remain open to that possibility. And it would be just as arrogant to dismiss it out of hand as to presume that it was definitely the case.
And tell us about your own experience, which I kind of relate in our interview just now. I kind of related to what's going to happen to the first astronauts who journeyed to Mars, because unlike the Apollo astronauts who journeyed to the moon, there was always a reference point for the Apollo, which was Earth. And the astronauts who journey to Mars won't necessarily be able to see Earth all on their journey. And your journey from Malta to Sicily on a sailboat, and what you experienced. Tell us about that.
Right. So I think you're referring to the fact that between Malta and Sicily, in that crossing, a good part of that journey is often out of sight of land. And to get a sense of the enormity of that achievement, we need to keep in mind that these people did not have compasses, they did not have GPS or LORAN, yeah, they did not have those technological navigational aids that we take for granted today, and that much of the journey was done by dead reckoning and an understanding of, you know,
And so,
the
for those who aren't familiar with nautical terms, how do you give us a parenthetical definition of what you term dead reckoning?
well, without being able to establish without knowing your absolute coordinates. Nowadays, you are constantly receiving a stream of information about your latitude and longitude. Without that, you need to make estimates for the winds and currents and how they may be throwing you off your intended course and correcting for it to make landfall even on a land which may be out of sight during much of your journey.
Right.
That is the achievement. And you need all the help you can get. You need to be able to read weather signs, meteorological signs like the orographic clouds which form over islands when you have still winds and because of the heat of the day. Yeah?
Right.
You need to get all the help you can from astronomy the sun in daytime and stars at night, and also any signs like migrating birds, floating branches, any outcrops of land where you may make a landfall and actually be able to navigate in relation to those. And a combination of all those factors are absolutely indispensable, even a matter of life and death if you're making these crossings.
But we don't have any hard proof of this archaeoastronomy. I mean, there have been numerous articles written about archaeoastronomy on Malta. And I think there was even a news flap. Was it in the late 70s or 80s that was very controversial, that people claimed they had proof of that the Neolithic peoples here were using the temples and orienting their structures with the equinoxes and maybe with certain stars and constellations.
We have hard proof that people were getting here, that they were performing these long journeys, that they're traveling between Pantelleria and Sicily.
Hmm.
And
And the hard
not
proof
one-
is Obsidian. You mentioned that, which
the
is
Obsidian. So if you want to speak in terms of hard proof, we have hard proof that people are managing to maintain connectivity with the outside world here.
uh-huh.
We have hard proof that they're building sophisticated architectural monuments,
Right.
the most architecturally sophisticated stone buildings that we know of so far anywhere in the world from the Neolithic to achieve this degree of complexity. We know they're great navigators, so it would be presumptuous to poo-poo or throw out the idea that these people are also keen observers of the skies.
So it's logical that they would be keen observers. That's what you're saying.
It shouldn't surprise us at all. Now, how much they knew and how they applied it, we don't know.
But tell us
Getting it
what was interesting, the proof, the physical proof that there was a connection between the island off of, I believe it was,
Pantelleria.
yeah,
Yeah.
and then also Lipari,
Yes.
north of Sicily.
Well,
You mentioned Obsidian. Tell us what
Yes,
Obsidian is.
well, that's a great example
Yeah.
because it's incontrovertible. You know, if you want facts, throughout the Maltese Neolithic, you have two sources of obsidian. So far, we haven't found obsidian from other sources so far. And the great thing about obsidian is it has a very distinctive signature. You can tell because of the different eruptions, which are the source of this volcanic glass.
Right.
There'd be a very distinctive signature of the different elements present within it. So Robert Tycott has done a huge amount of work on this, where he scientifically confirmed which pieces of obsidian are coming from Pantelleria and which are coming from Lipari. But they're so distinctive that you can even tell the difference with the naked eye. The Pantelleria obsidian, when you have a thin flake, has this khaki greenish tinge, and the Pantelleria one is more gray to black with white streaks. So even at a glance, you can tell the difference. Point is, they're both getting here in significant quantities.
But how? I mean, so you're seeing them during in the Neolithic era. Is that right?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
So
And
so they were getting here somehow. They had navigational skills.
absolutely, because Pantelleria, even we're talking about crossings of well upwards of 100 kilometers. Probably, I mean, there's a good chance that the obsidian getting here from Pantelleria is first getting to Sicily and then coming here from Sicily. But I say that just because the crossing from Sicily to Malta is a bit shorter and more feasible than a direct crossing from Pantelleria to Malta.
Okay.
But even as I say that, I'm making assumptions about the limitations of that technology. So I shouldn't even rule out the possibility that they were capable of a direct crossing between Malta and Pantelleria. It's simply because we still know so little about their navigation.
So how long has
Abilities.
formal archaeology been going on Malta? Only in
Well,
the
as
20th
long as
century.
formal archaeology has existed. Archaeology is quite a young discipline. It takes the form of a profession and a discipline only in the 19th, some would even say early 20th century. It's a byproduct of imperialism and colonialism. And Malta is one of the first places that it's being practiced.
And so, what is the key? What do we need to do to get to the bottom of this mystery? Is there any hope of clarity about what these people really knew about the celestial sphere, whether any of these so-called temples, these megalithic temples, were aligned with certain constellations, with Sirius or the Southern Cross, or
I think
the Pleiades.
there's
for
important
instance.
headway being made. So contributions by Cox and by Mario Vassallo and Fabio Silva, Tore Lomsdalen. Of course, the
who are all
archaeologists.
archaeologists.
Yes, and several of them have a special interest in archaeoastronomy. And of course, before all those, we had Frank Ventura and his colleague Ajus, all of whom have tried to put the investigation of this interest this ancient interest in astronomy on a sounder footing. So not just guessing or wanting to believe in something, but setting up empirical tests, looking at the entirety of the evidence, not just the things which match, not cherry picking, and looking at ways to design statistically testable hypothesis to get a better sense of whether these possible patterns are intentional or not.
Well, we look forward to hearing more in the future, and I want to thank you for your time, for speaking with us today. Reuben Grima at the historic University of Malta, archaeologist here, who's very interested in the Neolithic era. Thank you so much, Reuben.
It's a great pleasure.